Hey guys, Space Guru 5 here. Before we start, let me give a brief rundown of today's context. Coronavirus. It has gotten so much worse since March, affecting literally just under 5 million people worldwide, and it doesn't appear to be slowing down. More on that in a bit. Foamy the Squirrel, a misanthropic artifact of 2000s edgy emo culture that was cool in its time but is absolutely not aged well in the present day. I honestly wouldn't be surprised if most of you didn't even know Foamy was a thing, let alone that he was still around. On May 13th, 2020, iLL PrEss published a Foamy rant in response to people who take the current pandemic lighter than they should. You see, I agreed with this video to a certain extent, but then this happened.
How could you be this fucking stupid? While others diligently stayed at home in order to not spread disease, just in case, others went around licking toilets, coughing on groceries, and decided to be deliberately antagonistic assholes when it came to stay-at-home guidelines with no regard for medical warnings. So, to those people, if you're this fucking stupid, this fucking selfish, just kill yourself. Go home and just get it over with. Stop ruining lives, spreading disease, and being a dick. Fucking die. No one wants you here. No one needs you here. You are nothing but a burden on everything good in this world. Die.
As much as I understand being frustrated with people acting like coronavirus isn't a big deal, we can smell our own, I draw the line at wishing these kinds of people ill. And no, I refuse to believe this is just a persona. There's been a previous Foamy rant belittling people who need medication for anxiety and depression in the same video where he admonished his marijuana users. This was only a few years before marijuana started becoming legalized, by the way, so many of his points there have aged really poorly.
And don't think I'm picking on the illegal drug users. What about all you fucking parents out there that are on, 15,000 medications for depression, for post-whatever? Oh, I'm not happy. Maybe I'm manic-depressive. Lighten up!
That's the real irony here. He admonishes people for being antagonistic assholes, and yet he has been and continues being an antagonistic asshole. It's amazing how easy it is to get stuck up your own ass when you decide to be this fucking toxic, isn't it? I realize there's way more to Foamy's hypocrisy than this, but we ain't got time for that. Yes, there is a lot of truth to the phrase "you can't fix stupid," but the stupid people aren't nearly as common as you might think. FiveThirtyEight released a series of polls that detailed Americans' responses to the pandemic over time. I'll leave a link to that in the description. In the first poll shown, you can see that as soon as the pandemic hit American shores, a vast majority of the people polled indicated concern about the pandemic. In fact, only about 12% had no concern about it whatsoever. The other 88% had at least some modicum of concern, ranging from light to severe. I get that there's such a thing as hyperbole to make a point, but it's an inherently flawed standpoint because of the sole fact that you had to exaggerate to make that point in the first place. Look at the facts before you make the arguments, folks. Simple as that. That's basically all I have to say about that video. Despite our collective preventative measures, more and more people continue to get infected worldwide at a steady rate, but it is declining for some places. Will a second wave hit? Will it not? It's too early for me to tell, honestly. Point is, don't let your guard down. Yes, some states have lifted the stay-at-home orders, whether by choice or by legal jurisdiction, but for the good of the people at large, don't get complacent. Even the smallest lenience will prolong the disease, and the last thing I want is for any of you guys to get sick with this shit. This is especially important as a significant number of Americans are very concerned about the economy, and thus there are bipartisan efforts to reopen the country from lockdown, bitter and divisive as they always are. Stay safe and be sure to adhere to the CDC's guidelines to the best of your ability. That's about it for today, folks. I'm Space Guru 5, and as always, take care.
Here I lie on my deathbed, recalling things said as my world slips away.